Most people see this logo and think of a $3,000 handbag. They see the gold, the leather, and the status. But what if I told you that Louis Vuitton is just the front of a secret? A $400 billion empire that controls almost everything you buy, drink, and wear. Behind the curtain is a man who didn't start in fashion, but in the gritty world of French construction. A man who became the richest in Europe, not by designing clothes, but by perfecting the art of the hostile corporate takeover. He is Bernard Arnault, and in 2026, he has a massive problem. He is 77 years old. By law, he has to step down by the time he is 85. He has exactly 8 years to pick up an heir from his 5 children, before his own legal golden cage tears the family apart. This isn't just a business story, it's a war for the crown of luxury. To understand who will win, you have to understand what are they fighting for. The company is LVMH. It's a giant you've likely never heard of, but you definitely know its soldiers. In fashion, it's not just LV, it's Dior, Fendi, and Givenchy. In jewelry, it's the legendary Tiffany & Co. and Bulgari. In your glass, it's Moet Champagne and Hennessy Cognac. Even when you walk into Sephora, you are walking into Bernard's house. But Bernard Arnault didn't build these brands with a sewing machine. He hunted them. In the 1980s, he used a bankrupt textile firm to seize Christian Dior. Then, he did something legendary. He played the founders of Louis Vuitton and Moet Hennessy against each other, creating a civil war within the company, until he was the only one left standing. The French press gave him the nickname the Wolf in Cashmere. He's a predator who disguised himself in the finest wool. But even a wolf grows old. And as we head towards 2034, the question isn't who just takes over, it's how Bernard has made it legally impossible for them to leave. Bernard has spent decades auditioning his 5 children. Every month, they meet for a 90-minute lunch at the LVMH headquarters. It's not a family meal, it's an oral exam. First, there's Delphine, the eldest. She's the CEO of Christian Dior. She is the steady hand. Delphine has been at her father's side for 20 years, learning his cold, calculated style of management. If the board wants more of the same, Delphine is the queen. Then there's Alexandre, the modernizer. He's the one who convinced his father to buy Tiffany & Company for nearly $16 billion. He took a dusty, aging brand and made it cool for Gen Z. Currently, he's at Moet Hennessy, tasked with fixing the global slump in luxury spirits. He's the growth candidate. Then we have the younger trio, Frédéric, who runs L'Europeana, the home of quiet luxury, Antoine, who controls the family's image, and Jean, the youngest, a mathematical genius with a degree from MIT. In 2026, the rumors are flying. Is it Delphine's experience or Alexandre's vision? Bernard refuses to say. He treats his children like a portfolio of stocks, waiting to see which one yields the highest return. But here's the twist you won't find in the fashion magazines. Bernard Arnault is obsessed with control, even from beyond the grave. In 2022, he changed the family holding company into a limited partnership. He gave each child an equal 20% stake, but he added a legal brutal clause, the no exit rule. For 30 years, until the year 2052, none of the siblings are allowed to sell their shares, without a unanimous voting from all 5. When Bernard steps down in 2034, his children will be forced to run this empire together for another 18 years. They can't quit, they can't sell to a rival, they're locked in a room together with $400 billion on the table. It's a brilliant move to prevent a Gucci-style family collapse, but it's also a recipe for a 30-year powder keg. So what does this mean for you? In early 2026, the luxury world is changing. The days of logomania, where you can wear a giant LV on your chest, are fading. Under the influence of the heirs, LVMH is pivoting towards extreme scarcity. They are buying brands like L'Europeana to dominate quiet luxury. They are realizing in a world of AI and fast fashion, the only thing that stays valuable is something you can't easily buy. By locking his 5 children together, Bernard is ensuring that LVMH doesn't just chase the next trend. He's building a dynasty that thinks in centuries, not months. But there's a massive risk. 5 siblings, 5 massive egos, and only one throne. If they can't agree on a leader by 2034, the wolf's greatest achievement might actually become his greatest curse. Bernard Arnault once said, "He's a patient man. He spent 40 years waiting for a perfect moment to strike. Now, the world is waiting to see if he taught his children to be just as patient or as hungry. Because in the world of high fashion, there are no friends, only competitors. And for the Arnaults, the most dangerous competitor of all might be sitting right across the dinner table."